of peace with just, CIA intransigence going on. But a very cool thing happened on December 24th. The imam who looked after our Delta bomber and Major Hassan, the notorious military shooter and psychiatrist, was killed just before this bomber went on his rampage. And then as I go into my minute detail, I find out 2 people who were released from Guantanamo Bay. Prisoner number 372, Abu Sayyaf al-Siri, and prisoner number 333, Abu al-Harith Muhammad al-Afi, just happened to be Al-Qaeda leaders in Yemen. And then we got to go back to say, well, there's a connection where our bomber goes to Houston to go to a madrasa school there, and the imam goes to Yemen. So we have connections between Texas and Yemen, and we have these guys who are at Guantanamo released. And then we know, compliments of this great newspaper, if we can zoom in on the screen there, Blue, the Gitmo Wire, something I get door to door, that the primary victim of Major Hassan is Major Caravello, who happened to be a psychiatrist at Guantanamo. And then I think we wonder, what's going on? 2 guys are released from Guantanamo, and we have a complete taking care of business. We get rid of maybe his handler, controller, and at the same time we get rid of the imam just prior to the attack, and then we have some guy just appear out of the blue to bomb this plane. We see Yemen here on the map, quite the choke point. That's just about as tight as Gibraltar is. That's where the oil's got to flow. That's a major, major piece of real estate. The Chinese are trying to infiltrate into that area. The Chinese have a concept that you can find online called the string of pearls. The Americans want to have something, their own string of pearls, that they have bases and ports for their ships to haul the oil in and out. And these 2 strings of pearls may run into some conflict soon, because everybody needs the oil. That's the jugular vein. But there's also something else behind Yemen, something that nobody tells you about. So we see these beautiful pair of eyes here. Just absolutely gorgeous girl from Yemen. She leads off this article, Why Yemen is the Next War Front. And then we go down to this big jumble of stuff. Would you believe people at the University of Calgary have been doing some research in Yemen, and a team has found Queen Sheba's palace, buried in the desert for 3,000 years. Inside is supposed to be the Ark of the Covenant. And another professor, Dr. James Harris, retired from Brigham Young University, has been doing a lot of research on the pictographs of the language that are on these objects. Some has been found in the United States. Some has been found in Israel, Colorado specifically in the United States. Some of the words come out as Canaan, or YH for Yahweh, God. There's a movable text, almost like a printing press on some other obelisks. A lot of the language is decoded here. Is this one of the secret reasons why we're going into Yemen? We're looking for stuff. This is a Google image of the palace. It was found in the summer of 2001. The coordinates are very, very nice. 15 degrees, 24 minutes, 15 seconds north. So when you do your little bit of arithmetic there, 1 and 5 are 6, 2 and 4 are 6, 1 and 5 are 6, so it's 666. 45 degrees, 21 minutes, 21 seconds, 3 east. So you got 9, 3, 3, and 3. Very big numerology numbers for the New World Order. So what is really out there? The box cell of the Lord at El, formerly housed in King Solomon's temple. Is this the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Obama style? What is really out there? A lot that they're not going to tell us about, that's for sure. We have competent journals like the Wall Street Journal analyzing the terror threat and saying it's all a scam. They can't understand why. More people die for a million other reasons in the United States. Your chances of dying as a result of terrorism are close to zero. Well, I think I can pretty much figure out why, and I'm sure people who listen to mediums like this can figure out why too, and it sure don't have much to do with terrorism. So we'll go to our good buddy here, the infamous bomber. Everybody's seen him. And then in the Ghana press, this was him. Two completely different faces. The first guy looks completely zombied out. He doesn't look burned enough. This guy's happy and smiley because maybe his dad's a Nigerian banker, but the Ghana newspaper quickly corrected that image as a lot of commentators made fun of them. And then, of course, I guess that's why we see the CNN picture here where we have the face blocked out, so you can't see any faces at all, because we have two guys. One was a Manchurian who was supposed to die on his midnight flight to paradise, and the other guy would just carry on where he's always been, working for the New World Order and Daddy in the Bank of Nigeria, perhaps. There is real terrorism. Real terrorism doesn't make the news. There's been a lot of bombings going on in Ireland. A policeman was blown up with a bomb in his car. Of course, that's not news. That's not important because that's real terrorism. Someone takes a big truck and parks it to the police board in a county of Ireland. That's not real terrorism. Only guys who just put explosives in their underwear and do a fake. That's terrorism. All this other stuff, you sweep it under the rug. It's like we talked about the Athens explosion that happened before this. That was real terrorism. They blew up an insurance building in downtown Athens, glass in the streets, you know, broken and shattered shit. That doesn't matter. That's not important. But we have to wonder what is important. We always talk about the home team. We're the home team. It's a big power failure recently. If we zoom in on the map, we can see the downtown core, just above the University of Toronto, that blued out area. That was the big power shutdown. 18,000 people without power for close to 8 hours. That's something to watch. Anything happens in our town, we know the day, we know the place. That's when they wired the explosives or turned off the security or accessed whatever they had to access. A lot of subway shutdowns. If they're planning something on the TTC, I don't think I've ever heard of any so many subway shutdowns as there's been in the last couple of weeks. It's just like all the time. They don't get published too much. You just see the big herds of people going down Yonge Street. And then you know. Then we had to do a little bit of time here on Britain's Climate Gate. This is a giant picture, but you know, that big salami thing there in the middle, that's England from a satellite photograph. Just looks like a giant block of ice, because it is a giant block of ice. And we find out, you know, we had Professor Nick Velasquez on the show to tell you that they fudged the data here in Canada. The Gore people were told, and they cherry-picked the sensors that they wanted to use. They cherry-picked the sensors that ended up in urban areas that showed an increase in temperature, and they ignored the ones in the rural areas that have been there since 1935 that showed a decrease in temperature. They lied. He collected the data he knows, and he gave them the warning about what was meant by the readings on these sensors. They completely ignored them. Well, the Russians are saying the British Meteorological Office has done the same thing, that they cherry-picked the sensors that gave them the results that they wanted, and they didn't care about all the other sensors. So it's like a 70-30 split. So they lied. And then, of course, we see one of the biggest chills in Britain and Europe in a long, long time. One of the British press saying as many as 60,000 people may freeze to death in the winter because of this damn global warming. Like, how long are we going to take it? Over and over. Then one short little article that didn't matter, but we missed it. Wednesday should have been death day for us, 7:47 a.m. Remember a couple of weeks ago, the Russians had an emergency meeting in secret about some sort of object that was going to strike the Earth? Well, imagine that. Wednesday, 7:47 a.m., that was supposed to be it. 80,000 miles away, it was a close call, just missed us. Probably didn't see it or hear about it, and mainstream media isn't going to tell you about it either, but we came pretty close. We've had a fatwa